Zidane Danny, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. Real quick, before we actually get into the actual video, I would like to just bring your attention to the new logo. You may not realize what the difference is, and if you haven't, then it's this. The Pokeball used to be there, and now it's not. So, if you want to know more information, then go check out the video from yesterday. Otherwise, let's get into the actual video, which is not involving this. It is involving another anime, My Hero Academia. But let's get into it. So, there is a certain YouTuber. A YouTuber who's pretty funny and jokes around a lot. But he's often said that Deku is the worst protagonist. Especially after Season 2. Oh my gosh. Um, so we're gonna get into why he's actually the best protagonist. Now, I want you to first just know something. What makes a good protagonist isn't what you may think. Some people may assume, oh, the main protagonist has to be front and center all the time. They are the most important character in the series, period. And if that's how you think, then you would understand why this guy probably doesn't think that Deku is that great. Mostly because of the fact that many of the other characters take the spotlight. A lot. Like, holy crap, you would not believe how much they take the spotlight. Todoroki is practically the second protagonist. And so on and so forth. The people that you would assume are the main protagonist, Ida, Uraraka, Deku, they don't get as much screen time as literally everybody else, or at least as you would assume. So why is it then that Deku is still the best main protagonist? And it's actually because of something that you may not quite realize. I want you to look at another anime that is actually pretty popular, Assassination Classroom. One of the best animes of all time, honestly. And yet, I want you to look at how many of the characters you actually remember. You may only remember 5 offhand. Like, even if you've watched the show recently and, like, you just watched the last episode and everyone said their names, at least in that episode, or even watching it throughout, seriously, how many of them can you name off the top of your head? Maybe 5. Maybe. If you're lucky. And most of them aren't the kids. Well, 2 of them aren't the kids. Probably the most important characters you'll remember is Koro Sensei and Ilovich. Those 2 you'll probably remember really easy because Koro Sensei is the protagonist, antagonist, however you want to classify him. And Ilovich has a funny name, or a funny nickname. You'll probably also remember Karma and Nagisa, because they're the main protagonists, and especially Karma has a weird name, and it's funny. And the last character you may remember is Tarasaka. Maybe. And that's it. Now let's look at My Hero Academia. How many of the characters you remember? Probably most of them. And that is what Deku does. That is why Deku is the best protagonist. He inspires everyone. The first 2 seasons are kind of an interesting point, and later down the line in the current arcs that are coming up in the anime, again, Deku has a prominent role, and most likely he will be the main focus of season 6. Yeah, season 6. Season 5 is a bit weird. But for season 6 and probably the rest of them, Deku is going to be the main focus. plain and simple. Um, Obviously, there's certain things that we have to wonder right now, but we'll just have to wait and see exactly what they decide to do. Um, but in season 1 and season 2, we see Deku, and we see his other classmates noticing him, seeing him. Deku is interesting. He works harder than anyone, and while most of them don't realize why, Bakugo knows. Deku was quirkless and knows that if and Deku knows that he is extremely lucky to even be there, to be at UA. But he can't, plain and simple, because he's quirkless. So he has to work harder. He has to pass his exams. He has to do well on the tests. He has to do everything. He has to train up his muscles before he even gets a quirk. And when he finally does get a quirk, it's something special. He doesn't know how to use it. He basically destroys his limbs every time he uses it up until the end of season 2. Or the second arc of season 2. And it's insane to think about. He can't use his quirk without hurting himself. But he works hard anyways, and he jumps into situations that he probably should be avoiding. He jumps in to help out All Might when he's losing his strength to actually keep his form. He ran in to save Bakugo when he was being attacked by the slime villain, and so on and so forth. He keeps rushing in and helping people, and it inspires people, plain and simple. He fights in the sports festival, but differently. Not the same way that you would expect for someone to fight. He doesn't use his quirk once until it's actually time for the battle. Only once in the entire battle. And that is once to wake himself up, and then he uses every single finger, one at a time, just to make sure that Todoroki finally uses the full extent of his quirk. He believes in him and shows him that the quirk is his own, plain and simple. Deku knows what it's like to inherit a quirk that is honestly not the right thing for him. Little does he know how right he will be. The quirk is not his, but it's growing on him. It's becoming his own quirk. And that is something that he needs to show Todoroki. Todoroki's quirk isn't seen as his own to him. It's seen as his father being an evil man, adding his own, forcing his mother into really a terrible situation, just so that he can have a son that can beat All Might one day? Maybe? It pisses him off, with good reason. He has ice and fire, so he avoids using his father's quirk to resent him. But it's not his father's quirk. It's his quirk, completely. And he needs to understand that. And eventually, he does. And so on and so forth. Many other instances happen like this. Uraraka wants to grow to be better because of Deku. Ida becomes the class representative and he was inspired by Deku. to enough to actually vote for him. But he steps in when there is an emergency. He steps in and tells people there's no actual emergency. They don't have to freak out. And it's a huge importance. And a lot of other characters get inspired by Deku. Some in directness with, I believe Suyu got some. I would even say, I would say Jiro and many others, and Bakugo even. Each of these characters get inspired by him because he's working hard, and they want to do the same. And then these characters inspire others to do their best, to show who they are. I mean, if you really think about it, that is what happens with Momo and Todoroki. Momo gets her quirk, sees her quirk as not being as good as Todoroki's, and doesn't see herself as being as good as Todoroki. But he sees her and wants to help her because he was helped by Deku, and he pays it forward. That is what Deku does. That is why Deku is the greatest protagonist. Is he going to be the number one hero, the top of the charts? Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm honestly not. Is he going to become the symbol of peace like All Might before him? Honestly, like I said, I'm not sure. At this moment, Todoroki and Bakugo have a decent chance to be higher than Deku. But because of who he is and how he's changing, maybe not. Deku inspired them to change who they are, to become better people. And he does. Everyone in this show gets inspired by Deku. Little by little, but it's still a lot. Deku is the greatest protagonist, plain and simple, because he helps people. They say, oh, every single episode or every single season, Deku says, this is the story of how I became the number one hero, or became the greatest hero. And it's true. He is already becoming more and more the greatest hero. I want you to think to yourself now, who is your hero? Maybe it's your parents who inspired you to take on some insane challenge, or maybe they helped you through a hard time, or maybe it's someone who inspired you yourself. Say if you're someone who wants to be an inventor, maybe not Einstein, maybe Thomas Edison, or like I was about to say, Einstein. These people inspire us. Yes, our heroes have their faults, but who they are inspire us. Their good inspires us. Einstein and Thomas Edison, they inspired me when I was wanting to become an inventor. And many actors have inspired me to do what I'm doing now, along with many YouTubers. I may not like certain YouTubers anymore, but they inspire me to be who I am now. In essence, they're my heroes. And to an extent, I hope that I will be a hero to you guys through what I say here. That is what Deku is. He is the inspirer. And that's why he's, like I said, the greatest protagonist. Yeah, he may not get as much screen time as everyone else, but in truth, if you look at everyone throughout the show, you'll see his influence little by little. I mean, if you think about it, when Momo does her fight later next season, and you'll be able to see, holy crap, she is a completely different person from who she was in the sports festival, even. And even more recently, when she took her exam with Todoroki, she has grown as a person. Some of it is because of Todoroki, but because of Todoroki, Todoroki was actually inspired by Deku. So, she has become a new person because of that. And also, Shinso, who is about to have an arc that is basically his own. Yeah, a lot of next arc is going to be dealing with Deku, but a lot of it is also dealing with Shinso. Why did he feel that he could finally actually become a hero? Because of people like Deku. Deku basically wants to have another fight with him to show that the two of them have become stronger. And eventually it happens. And it's one of the greatest fights you'll ever see. Honestly, I want to see more fights between them. Actual sparring, because they're awesome. They are two of the greatest characters. I honestly would not be surprised if in a future season, Shinso, Todoroki, and Deku go on a mission together and save the world. Now, let's actually look as well at Bakugo. Bakugo is changed a lot. People will compare Bakugo to characters like Sasuke and honestly many, many others. But who he has become is because of Deku. He may hate his guts, but in truth, I think he sees him as a true friend. Little by little. So, yeah. So, you may think still, oh, Deku isn't that great. He's not the best main protagonist. I want you to take a moment then. Look at your favorite protagonist and tell me, what do they do that makes them, in your eyes, be the better protagonist? Do they inspire you to become who you want to be? Maybe. In fact, if they do, then fantastic. But Deku does that for me and for his classmates. That's the reason. But anyways, guys, like I said, I want to know what you guys think. Who is your favorite protagonist? And also, let me know any other theories that you have about My Hero Academia or Miraculous or really anything, because I do talk about a lot of stuff on this channel, and there's a lot to actually unpack for the future seasons. And with a few other things coming along soon, we've got a lot of things to talk about. But anyways, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave a like. If you are going to leave a theory, then make sure to use the hashtag theory review so that they can show up in my fan theory review video next month. And of course, if you are new, please subscribe and ring that notification bell. And if you want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description and check out all of the links down there. But anyways, guys, I've been Electro Ninja, and I'll see you guys next time. But on.